I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence to let them in, talk up their body, another one body, that's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes, stay in your lane, I stay on the go. I can play with.
All right, I think I got it under control now. Welcome everyone to Startup on the Blocks. I'm Lloyd Richard, and we're going to get our show on the road here. Our guest hasn't showed up yet, but let me start off by doing a little quick update on Startup on the Blocks here, and hopefully she'll be able to make it here, but we'll proceed on without her if necessary. Okay. Let me share my screen here. All righty. Startup on the Blocks, and we're all about working with startups, and we've been doing events every week for a little over a year now. Last week I announced that we're going to open up our pitch applications on November 1st, and we'll have our pitch competition on December 16th, and we'll probably break for the holidays after that. But we are excited, to have the first sponsoring our next pitch competition. And in the past, Innisfree has been our main sponsor for our pitch competition. We also have some partners, Gulf Coast Minority Chamber and Bantucola Chamber, and also the Small Business Development Center, UWF, and Gulf Power is one of our founding sponsors as well. And today I actually got a chance to be a judge in a pitch competition, and that was really exciting to see some Black founders compete for, I think it was like 15,000 first prize and 7,500 for second prize and some smaller amount for third prize. But I want to thank Boris for inviting us to be at the Ambition conference today. So that was there was a lot of great content, a lot of great speakers. So hopefully some of you all got a chance to actually see that. Okay, on Dr. Sephus, I'm not sure what happened today, but she was all registered and everything, but I haven't heard from her as far as coming on today. So hopefully we'll hear something here shortly. But next week we have Monica White. She got a chance last week to participate in the Twitch pitch competition. And so we look forward to hearing about her experience and the going through the program she went through and how was it, how fun was it being able to pitch. So definitely excited about that. And Joey Womack, he was actually one of the judges on the pitch competition today as well. And you know, I can't say enough about Joey and all the things he's doing to help founders all across the country and connecting them with the resources and mentors. I mean, this week I got connected to I think three consultants, three people that are in the tech industry to help out with what we're doing here with Startup on the Blocks and also with our STEM work that we're doing in a nonprofit. So, like I said, I can't say enough about him. Still waiting on Matthew to pick the date he's coming on. Hopefully, we can get him on before the end of the year. Righty. So, for those of you, we have a couple of new people on tonight, and I'm not sure who's out in Facebook and LinkedIn land, but we definitely got involved in the startup ecosystem to kind of help make it more inclusive and to kind of provide an avenue for founders of color, to get involved in the ecosystem and take advantage of the resources. So, and I'd say we work at the beginning of the funnel. We help generate interest from Black and Brown founders or people who are thinking about becoming a founder. And then we have internally, we have a pre-accelerator type program. And also we offer the pitch competitions and we get them connected to all these different type of investors and so on. So in more detail, we do this event each week to kind of for founders and people who are interested in the startup ecosystem to have a place to connect, to come and network. And so we try to provide some consistency so you can always come to meet some people and also get connected to some neat information. And so that's kind of what our approach is. So like if you're a founder and you if nobody knows what you're working on, it's hard to kind of get some traction and some success. So in the networking, you can kind of meet more people that have different talents and skills, and they also might be founders, or maybe they may be further along than you, or you may be further along than them, and they can help you. That's what the networking is about. So we had a young lady in the networking tonight, Nicole. I didn't get a chance to meet her. I was looking forward to meet her, but as I was networking with Edna, she said Nicole had just got out of college, and she had her degree in graphic design, and she was anxious to kind of get started and and learn about being a founder. So, Nicole, you always welcome here, and we'll help you get connected to the resources you need to kind of move forward, and having those uh, graphic design skills. That's a pretty neat thing to help. You can literally uh, create mock-ups of your idea, and then you can also create the app screens, the web, uh, what the website's going to look like, and connect with programmers to actually build whatever application you're trying to build. Or you can partner with one of our existing startups here, and kind of move forward with that. So it's definitely all starts with connecting and meeting people. Looks like Dr. Nashlie has made it here. So um, like if you're in the backstage, Nashlie, just request to come on stage, and we'll let you on. Um, and so we'll get going there. So, so Lord Junior, if you would try to send her a direct message or something, then try to give her some guidance, and or Vercel, give her some guidance how to get to the backstage. But um, definitely, the networking is a real key piece of being a founder. Getting those connections to resources, developers, mentors, and other founders. And then for the best practices, like tonight's guest, she got a PhD in artificial intelligence, and she was the CTO of PartPick, and she worked with Jewel Burke, um, um, which was a non-technical founder that had the idea for PartPick, and they built it and was able to have an exit with Amazon. And Dr. Sephus, she actually works uh, um, with Amazon now, and also she's got her own thing called the Bean Pack, and Bean Path. We look forward to hearing about that as well. So that's what the best practices. We do founder stories. We promote the lean startup methodology, um, and in order to kind of move things forward there. Um, and then for people who are not familiar with the startup ecosystem, we kind of use the pitch competitions to kind of lure them in, and so that's what I approach there. Hello, Dr. Cephas, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Fantastic. Glad to have you here. I was just doing introductions to let the audience know a little bit about Startup on the Blocks, and I'm almost finished. So you just hang in right there, and once I finish, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Will
So
do.
yeah, and then also, after we run the pitch competition, we invite the finalists in to be a part of one of our portfolio companies, and we offer them mentoring, and we offer them some project management software, and we also offer them this thing called Startup Rocket, where they um, have the ability to document their idea and have the pathway to developing that minimal viable product. And so we partner with StartupRocket.com on that, and so that's an excellent tool. So it's like the train track to get into that MVP. We also offer office hours, and each week on Saturdays from 1 to 3, um, and we send out a weekly newsletter that has all as many opportunities that we come across, to kind of help you get connected to funding, training, etc. And then the Kukua Institute, a nonprofit, we also have this thing called the Center for Innovation Workforce, and we are all about developing talent to support startups and also to have the ability to go out and start their own company and also work for other companies. And so we are just all about connecting folks, and that's what turns us on, and that's what we feel will help you as a founder, to have the capacity to get connected to the resources, to build your MVP, and follow these methodologies, and get out there and move on. All right, Dr. Cephas, you can come back on. I've uh, uh, I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Yes, right. So, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Can't complain. How
Fan,
you all doing?
doing fine, and we appreciate you taking the time to come be with us. And I don't know if you know, we had Mallory out of New Orleans on about a year ago, and you were the first person she started talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I met her down in New Orleans at one of the, what do you call those things? Those conferences they used to have down there, collision
Was it
conferences.
okay? Okay.
Yeah, and so yeah, and I hate when she left that company, because they still do to publish that Southern Startup Report as well.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So we finally got you here. So you can kind of do like a brief introduction, and then we can just talk a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, I'm very excited to be here today. Definitely did my research. You've done quite a bit yourself, so I'm excited to be with like minds here today, this evening. And so,
Yes.
I am, uh, Nashlie. I am a AI scientist at Amazon. I've been there 5 years. I That was a result of selling a company to Amazon, where I was the chief technology officer. I think you mentioned that earlier.
Hmm.
I'm originally born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi. So I'm a Southern girl. I currently live in Atlanta, but I'm back and forth between Atlanta and Jackson. Work
So I'm not sure if you all can hear it, Ashley.
still. Okay, sorry. So
Oh, no,
cut out for a minute there.
no
Um,
problem.
But yeah, the Bean Path is my nonprofit. We do free tech help in the community. We just celebrated
Wow.
our 3 year anniversary this past weekend. We're doing a big fundraising campaign, so feel free to donate.
Okay.
Thebeanpath.org/donate. And then I'm also doing the Jackson Tech District, which is an up and coming development
Wow. Well,
in
so
downtown Jackson.
yeah, so is that different than the bean path, or is that combined with the bean path?
Yeah, so the Bean Path is, like I said, it's a nonprofit side. The Tech
Yeah.
District is a 14-acre live, work, play of development, and so it includes the Bean Path, but
Okay.
also restaurants, event center, entrepreneurship hub, as well as
Hmm.
other tech skills and training centers. And so I'm excited about all that's to come. And this is an area that's been mostly abandoned all my life.
Yes.
In the near the Central Business District on the west side, and less than a mile away from Jackson State University, HBCU. And
Hmm.
so I, having grown up in Jackson, Mississippi, I know how important it was to have you know, tech help and access to tech experts. And
Yes.
so I wanted to expose that to the people there and in my community. Um, I went to Mississippi State University for my undergrad in computer
Okay.
engineering and got my PhD at Georgia Tech in computer engineering, electrical and computer engineering.
Yeah.
And so my focus has been AI.
Yeah. So you mentioned Mississippi State. I didn't look. I knew you. I guess that your PhD was at Georgia Tech or something.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, but I didn't know you had did your um, undergraduate work at Mississippi State, and
Hmm.
yeah, and so like working for the government, in the Air Force Research Lab, we hired a couple of guys from Mississippi State, and they were well prepared. I was like totally shocked. A couple of
Oh,
my
nice,
brothers,
nice.
yeah, I was really impressed with their tech acumen, and their knowledge of how to use tools to kind
Hmm.
of do stuff. So so I guess you got a pretty solid background in there at Mississippi State.
I tried. I mean, I just went wherever, as I say, the Lord take me, that's where I go.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and so w- what led you to this path in computer engineering? You know, like what was it about your childhood or high school or whatever that kind of got you interested in this idea of being a computer engineer?
Yeah, so I often say, it wasn't there wasn't a lot of STEM people in my community other than, teachers, which they were very instrumental in helping me, grow those skills. It was actually my eighth grade teacher who uh, she sent me to a engineering camp when I was in the eighth grade that
Okay.
summer, and it actually was at Mississippi State, and it was a
Okay.
summer camp for girls in engineering. I didn't know that there was not just one engineering; there was like eight different types of engineering. I was like, what? And it just blew my mind. And then I think in particular, the computer engineering really grasped my attention because you get to type these letters and numbers into the computer and it controls all this cool stuff around you. And so I thought I knew, I was sold. My first love was actually music. I played the
Yeah.
piano.
Okay.
I was actually gonna major in music up until that point, and then I was like, nope, it's got to be computer engineering. So yeah.
Okay. Well, that's neat. You homed in on that, and so how did the opportunity at Georgia Tech come about to do your graduate work there?
I'd always actually wanted to go to Georgia Tech. Actually, I applied for undergrad and I was accepted, but the money just wasn't there.
Gotcha.
And because it was out of state, I actually went to Mississippi State. It was top engineering program in the state, and I had a full ride there. Ended up getting a full ride, and so I thought it was a great opportunity. And I still got to get away from home a little bit, and so
Yeah.
and I'm so happy that's how it. I wouldn't have it any other way. I really enjoyed my experience at Mississippi State and at Georgia Tech. And so I knew that Georgia Tech was the only it was like the only top five engineering school in the Southeast.
Yes.
All the rest of them were, West Coast, New York,
Hmm.
wherever,
Yeah.
Midwest. And so I wanted to kind of stay close to home and, for, family reasons as well as, the culture is different, the weather. There was a lot that I felt that I needed, especially in grad school, is a very tough time. And so you want to make sure you got a good support system. And so
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me, that's where I ended up.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. I think yeah. So the I'm trying to think. But you ended up getting your PhD in AI. So what kind of got you interested in that? You're you may be frozen again. Oh, there you go. You're moving now.
I do apologize. And so you,
Oh
you
no.
said I ended up, I
So
didn't hear your question.
yeah. So what got you? What how did you transition from computer engineering to getting a PhD in AI? What got you down the AI path?
Yeah. So I knew that when I was in grad school, I had to pick, concentration and expertise area. And so I was always interested in music, like I said. And so
Hmm.
I was really trying to figure out how do I, you know, create Garage Band. Was the game? It was Guitar Hero. That's what it was.
Okay.
I was trying to
Okay.
figure out how could I create Guitar Hero, but in real life, to where
Gotcha.
you can like have these songs and create this algorithm where you could like split all these music parts up
Hmm.
and just have it all automated there to play,
Okay.
to actually play the real music. And so that took me to signal processing,
Yes.
digital
Hmm.
signal processing, which was at the time that was the core of machine learning and
Hmm.
artificial intelligence, and so forth. And so that a lot of the algorithms and things that we write in technology, things that we create in technology for music, it also applies to speech. It also
Yeah.
applies to language. It applies to even images and video.
Hmm.
And it's basically just finding patterns so that
Yes.
you can automate things in the future based on those same patterns you've seen before. And so that again, when I knew that concept was so applicable across the board,
Yeah.
even though I was looking in this one area, I was like, okay, this is a win-win situation.
So what was that common thing that made the AI across the board? What did you see was what was unique about it, or common about it, that you could see that you could use it in almost any of those situations?
Yeah, so it's basically a lot of math. It's math
Hmm.
computation, but we don't have to do the math.
Gotcha.
We That's why we write the code to do the math for us.
Yeah,
And
that's
what the
right.
math does is it comes up with these equations and barriers or lines that separate different classes of objects.
Yes. Hmm.
And it's just fascinating when you think about it. Like we can say, for those, I'm gonna take you back to math class in
Okay.
algebra. Um, I might remember y equals mx plus b. It's just like the equation of a line. That was the equation of a line. So if you have the y-axis, you got the x-axis, you can plot a line.
Yeah.
That line is a machine learning algorithm,
Okay.
because you can create a rule and say anything above this line is a cat, anything below this line is a dog.
Okay.
And when we're trying to get into, did this person say hello? Did they say goodbye? You might need a million lines. Or if we're trying
Yeah.
to decipher between if cell, like a picture of someone's skin is cancerous or not,
Hmm.
you literally need at least 100 million lines and dimensions and parameters. So it just increases, but it's really as simple as it's just an equation with a whole lot of variables and parameters that help separate different classes of things in space.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. So for me, I I was interested in um, processing data in real time, sensors for weapons, and processing data in real time back in the '90s, and started to try to figure out a a way to process this sensor data in real time, because the weapon is moving or flying fast, and it's trying to recognize whether it's a tank out there or a truck or what. And so it has to be able to see that image and recognize it, and in order in real time. And so what I found was that AI was the fastest way to process sensor data in real time.
Yep.
Yeah, and so
Yep.
but it all boils down to is just another way of computing, doing math.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
and so
Exactly.
that's kind of what the deal there. So you were interested in music, and that sort of attracted you to the AI space, um, because I guess in essence it does take a lot of processing.
Yeah. Yeah. It does. And there we fast forward all the way to today. There's a lot of math, there's a lot of computation, but we have a lot more tools at our exposure
Yes.
now.
Hmm.
You have computers in the cloud. We don't even have to have a server anymore, at
Right.
your desk. It does the computation like that. Whereas it used to take us almost, I remember it actually taking like several days to a week
Hmm.
to train, a simple model to recognize different things. And now, that same model, you could probably train it on today's computing power in the cloud in like a matter of minutes. And so, and this has moved so fast, this area of technology, and it's very impressive. I think also, when it comes to the data that drives these algorithms, you think about it, we're getting faster at processing data, we're getting faster at sending data. If you look at your phone, it's getting faster. You think about back when we first had dial up. I remember I had to get off the phone because my mom and my grandmother had to use the phone. I couldn't finish downloading whatever I was downloading. And so, but now it's like seconds. And so, as the computation power increases, the transfer of data increase. The storage of that data is a lot more storage out there now. It's a lot cheaper, it's more efficient, and that just makes it a lot more accessible to people of all backgrounds to get involved with this field of AI and machine learning.
Yes. Yes. And so I want to kind of talk about how you got involved with the company Part Pig, and so how did that material? How did you end up connecting with Jewel on that?
Yeah, so Jewel is a great friend of mine. We still keep in touch. Um, it was a beautiful thing working for Part Pick, which was a startup led by mostly well, myself, CTO, Jewel Burke Solomon, was the CEO, and then Jason Crane, who was the COO,
Hmm.
Morehouse grad. And so I think that, the fact that it was like Wakanda, it was like Shuri on Black Panther. It was like we didn't, there was no glass ceiling. We could call the shots. We could actually focus on what we were doing. We related to each other. And I think that it was amazing how, um, I think we were actually connected via a mutual friend of mine who, um, he knew about what she was trying to do, and he knew that AI or machine learning was my background. And so
Hmm.
he connected us. She was in Atlanta at the time as well. She was working at a parts company, McMaster Car, and she had gotten some seed money and wanted to, expand her team and build a prototype. And so I was able to help her with that. And she took that and raised $1.5 million.
Okay.
And then she said, "Hey, I need you as CTO." So I came back. I was working in New York City at the time. I was just graduated from grad school. I spent about a year up there because I was a poor grad student at the time, so I needed to just make some money for a little while. And I came back to Atlanta, and the rest is history. So
Yeah. So did the COO, did he have any technical background?
no, I was actually the only technical person.
Okay. Yeah, and that kind of leads me to the question because like a lot of our founders down here in Northwest Florida are non-technical, and so one of the questions I have is how was it for you being technical, um, working with a non-technical founder?
Yeah, so it was different. So I think I'd been used to being around, people in my I was actually still in grad school at the time when we first met. And so I've
Hmm.
been used to being around people in my field who knew the language, I could talk to
Hmm.
them about the technology. But I also, I'm from Jackson, Mississippi, and so I talk to my grandmother, my mom, my sister all the time who are not technical, definitely not,
Hmm.
about what I do. And so I kind of had this skill set that I think is quite undervalued at some places of how you relate complex technical terms and relay that to people who are not in that industry.
Hmm.
So I kind of had that skill set, so I was able to kind of navigate that. Of course, we used to bump heads quite a bit because the usually non-technical, the sales, the marketing people like to
Hmm.
sell
Yeah.
even before the tech is
Yeah.
there sometimes.
You can do
And
that.
that's
You
and
can
that's
have that
just the
ready tomorrow.
yeah, yeah, that's just always how it's been. I think even at Amazon, I mean, I've experienced that. So we had to figure out a way to, communicate and be on the same page. But I was happy to be that kind of liaison. I call it the CTOs like being the quarterback in a
Yeah.
tech company. And so, where they were the coach, and then I was on the field. I had the players, the tech team,
Yeah.
and I would be the liaison between each, and it's a very important role to have.
Yeah, um, so for the non-tech founders, what advice would you give to them working with the tech founder?
I would say
Open.
definitely. Yeah, yeah, definitely understand what it is that your priorities are. Um, a lot of times, sometimes, if you don't know, what they are, then you have to figure it out. Sometimes you need the technical team member or a consultant to help you figure out what's actually technically feasible. So
Yes.
it's totally fine to consult with someone on that. And then also figure out what your priorities are because there will be shiny objects, that kind of make you veer over to the left or to the right. Sometimes you end up winning big. There are definitely risks. If you do
Hmm.
that, sometimes it works out, but it's a risk. So it
Yeah.
doesn't. It's probably more risk, less riskier to just stay on your path,
Yes.
and just keep chipping away because every time you make a decision change, it's like steering a ship. And so, it takes a while to steer the ship and move the whole team in a different direction.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just keep that in mind. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. 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 I hadn't thought about that much, but that you're exactly Right on point there. You change your mind, and yeah, it's going to take for a while to get going in
Yep.
that direction. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that's pretty neat. So like one of our founders, her and her husband, they run this. Um, what do you call it? They move haul trash away, and and um, and they were wanting to develop a application where um, they could actually take pictures of the garbage or the stuff that needed to be moved and translate that into a quote. And so what I suggested to them is that they have all this historical quote data that they
Mhm.
have, and they do have the pictures. And I said, well, you just need to get started for right now, just organizing that data that you actually have. And so what I think of these founders that need to develop similar application and they're non-technical. And so you said what Jewel did is there was you all had a common friend that connected you all. That's
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
you all
Hmm.
got going, and you could actually attack the problem. So let's say uh, let's say that person was in Jackson, Mississippi, and your tech village. What is your tech village in Bean Pass? What do they do to handle that situation?
Yeah. So we try to actually we have a program at the Bean Path. It's
Mhm.
called CTO to go. And
Okay.
it's the impression that there are a lot of people in that situation. They're non-technical,
Hmm.
but they have these great ideas, and
Hmm.
they just don't have access to someone who has that technical background. And oftentimes, if they seek out one, they're either extremely busy or they're extremely expensive. And if
Yeah.
you're just, most of the time, people, especially in our community, wouldn't have access to someone like that or the
Hmm.
funds. So we step
Hmm.
in and fill that gap, and we act as your CTO, your chief technology officer, until you can get your technical roadmap developed. We help you with that. We help you vet tech talent. We
Okay.
help you look at proposals. We help teach you what it is that you need to look for to hire, the best tech team that you can,
Hmm.
and help you with those connections. And so that's why we call it, we're your CTO to go. And so that to us, and we've helped about 20 companies so far, over the past 2 or 3 years in that program. And I think that that has been extremely helpful because if you go to pitch your idea to someone and you don't have like at least a bare minimum working prototype,
Hmm.
and we're talking about, I'm speaking in terms of code and app development, but this can
Yeah.
be in terms of a device that you created, something that
Yeah.
you printed with a 3D printer, or any type of technology.
Hmm.
Um, you're a lot more likely to get that investment from the investor if you have something to show.
Yeah.
And so we try to help make sure that these people get to that stage, and it just makes it a lot easier for them. And then we kind of step away because at that point, you can hire whoever you want to. You know everything you need to know. You have the money. You can be good on your own. So
Yeah, so like it's kind of I'm glad you told me about that because I wasn't aware of that, and because a former coworker of mine, he's been trying to help out somebody in Jackson. I have to reach out to him to see who that is and see if that person is aware of what you all are doing there with
yeah,
Beacon Path. And I'm trying to think out loud here, and I've seen a lot of different startup resources, and I've seen these kind of new venture studio things, and I think that's probably the closest thing I've ever heard of is would be maybe along the same lines of but they typically go a different approach. They offer service and they build stuff, but so your CTO to go thing, well, so that's just something the nonprofit offers, or is that something? So are you get grant money to support that CTO to go program? What's your approach on that?
yeah. So and it's a free service that we offer.
Okay.
This particular program is
Yeah.
free, and we have had some grant money to help us, because it's essentially, economic development,
Yeah.
helping people
Yeah.
build
That's
companies,
yeah.
workforce development type thing. And so
Yeah.
we do have some sponsors as well as
Yeah.
grants, donations, and all that. So yeah.
Yeah, so Burcell and I were talking about some, kind of technical assistant, which would fall into that same category as CTO to go. As for we here at the Kukua Institute, and I started on the Blocks program. You know, maybe going after some funding to provide this technical support. And so it sounds like you got a working example of it.
Oh yeah, yeah, sure. It this sort of thing is not, unique. Anybody can probably do it. You just
Hmm.
need the community of the tech experts. A lot of them are volunteers.
Yes.
So it really helps out. And so, um, some of the funds that usually go towards, stipends, or if we want to
Yeah.
provide food if it's in person.
Yes.
Some volunteers and experts, we do want to provide a honorarium to them, and some people we actually have on staff as well that we pay, part time, to make sure that they kind of can coordinate everything. So, but yeah, it's basically just getting people together to help other people.
Yeah. So um, so tell us a little bit more about the other types of programs that you offer between that tech district and the Bean Path thing there.
Sure, sure. So, the Bean Path started out doing what we call tech office hours.
Okay.
So just like a tech help desk. So
Okay.
we set up about 2 or 3 hours every second Saturday.
Hmm.
Now it's virtual, but we're actually getting ready to move into our very first building. We
Okay.
used to do it in the local libraries before the pandemic,
Hmm.
but now, within that 14 acres of land that I acquired,
Hmm.
um, our first building, we just got our first permit, and so we're moving in, and we'll be opening that in the next, few months. And so, we have the tech office hours to help people with any questions you have.
Hmm.
You can bring your devices in there. It's basically like a free geek squad, from Best
Hmm.
Buy.
Okay.
There's a CTO to go program. We help small businesses and startups with their tech needs.
Hmm.
And then we do several youth programs. We do artificial intelligence workshops.
Hmm.
We help with after school programs with other partnering organizations. We also do, I think, so the summer program, the after school program. There's also hackathons that we do throughout the year. And we try to really hone in on what students are interested in, such as K through 12. Quite a few, like this program we use called Ear Sketch,
Hmm.
where you're coding to make beats. So they're making beats, like, because everybody likes to make beats now. They
Yeah.
think that they can rap, right? And so,
Yeah.
or sing, but they're learning Python and they don't even know it, and they're learning
Yeah.
JavaScript. So
Okay.
it's a really cool program. Actually, it was created at Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
That
So
program.
what's the name? I think I've heard of it, but I've so what's the name of that program
It's
again?
it's called Ear Sketch. So
Ear Sketch.
EAR
Okay.
SKETCH.
Okay.
And you can Google it and it'll come up.
Okay.
But yeah, so we do all kinds of things. We just try to service whatever that community needs in terms
Yeah.
of tech exposure, tech skills, and advice.
Yeah. So have you came up with any program that or it may be in your CTO to go program, but it's something that to support the AI talent development in the community over in Jackson.
Yeah, so in addition to what we do at the Bean Path, with the kids camp, we have, general programming for just the general public.
Yeah.
We'll be expanding that into, like I said, with our new building. We can house more people.
Yeah.
We could do more things at different, times of the day, different times of the week. We're also building out a maker space,
Okay.
where we'll have 3D printers. We'll have people in the community will have, via a membership model, you can have
Yeah.
access to woodwork equipment, wood
Hmm.
carpentry equipment, kind of like shop class. What
Yes.
shop class used to be, I don't even think they have shop class anymore. But um, yeah, and we want to really speak to, not just emerging technologies and skills like AI and cybersecurity, cryptocurrency, Internet of Things, but we want to
Mm.
really relate it to, why is this important? This is important in my everyday life because I
Hmm.
like music, or because I like finances, or I'm a healthcare in the healthcare industry, and so or athletics.
Hmm.
Uh, Shout out to Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, who's
Yeah.
coaching at Jackson State now, and so big football culture, big sports culture in the
Mhm.
area in the city. We Technology is in all of that, and so we
Yeah.
just try to make sure we speak to that and we help people realize that through different types of workshops and programming.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, like, for us down here, we uh, are developing some, AI tools to kind of help the founders, come build stuff or create the artificial neural networks and some no code stuff. But it's yeah. So our biggest dilemma, see, like we have a university here in town, and so we have trouble identifying tech talent, especially in people of color. So we're going to keep trying to grow and build more tech talent, and in that way. And so my approach was to do that through this project based learning, have them do real world projects for startups, for nonprofits, for companies, and or and then that way they can get the skills. So so that's kind of our approach in our nonprofit with the STEM stuff. So we, like with the humanoid robot, the now robot, we combine that with local African American history. So so they learn both the history and the how to program the robot. And so
Nice.
so kind of do things in the same way with virtual reality. We take all that history and then we let them visualize it, and through virtual reality, and
Mhm.
so this might be a good deal for you all. There is another nonprofit called AI EDU, and so they it's a non-technical course that you know teaches AI literacy.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, and so it's all in Google Classroom. So your nonprofit, you can actually, actually team up with them, and if somebody, and it's totally non-technical. That's what the beautiful thing about it. But they get
Mhm.
the you get more of that AI awareness and
Yep.
how, and it's good for that's good for any age.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I mentioned to the audience they need to go ahead and get their questions ready for you, so that because yeah, but yeah, that to me, you're I really appreciate that example of that CTO to go program, because that's a really neat concept, because we have so many of these founders that have these ideas and they just don't know where to start technically.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we again, it's about access,
Hmm.
inclusion, expanding the reach
Yeah.
of these topics, and educating folks on what's possible so that you can solve the problems that you deal with every day. So that
Yeah.
you have the innovation. The innovation lies, the answers, it all lies within, the things that you do every day. We just want to empower you and give you the right tool sets.
Yeah, and that I was just thinking about another local company, um, husband and wife team. The wife, she does. Um, she has her own skincare product line, but she actually, has sessions um, with the patients, and then she recommends her skincare regimen, and so she's got tons of customers. So that's another perfect thing for automation,
Yeah.
with AI, and so
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, and so it's just, and I think, well, so I have trouble communicating that to people. Like, if you start working on it, like this in the case that Jewel did, you'll eventually find a person that can help you,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you got to work on it.
Yep.
And so
Yeah.
how long had Jewel been at what she was at before she ran into you to actually really bring it to fruition?
I think she already had the idea, and when she was working at
Mm-hmm.
McMaster-Carr, the parts company. Um, this is where the idea was birthed, and
Yeah.
so she learned as much as she could working for that company. I think it was like late 2012 or 2013, and
Mm-hmm.
um, she started talking to people about it. I think that's where she met up with my friends who
Mm-hmm.
were talking to her about it, and that's how she got to us. And so I think she kind of secretly was like, okay, I want to do this, but how? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
don't quit your day job until you figure out the how part. But she spent maybe a couple months or so, and then just eventually found the right people. But sometimes it takes more, sometimes it takes less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. That's pretty fantastic. So I, I don't see any questions popping up yet. But like so what's your role at Amazon? What do you kind of do for them?
So at Amazon, I work on a team. I work with AWS, Amazon
Okay.
Web Services, and I work with AWS AI. And so in particular, we focus on fairness and mitigating biases, AI technologies.
Wow, wow.
And
Like, that's a
so,
tall order.
yeah, tell me about it. And so, I've been on that team for about maybe 3 years or so, 2 or 3 years, and before that, I worked on the shopping app. So if you ever use the Amazon shopping app, there's a little camera
Cool.
button you can click on and point it to something. So that was actually the part pick technology that migrated over into that, and they took the parts part out, but some of that is still in there just to
Yeah.
recognize things in general, without the measurement part. So
Okay.
yeah, I've seen a lot of different sides. I've seen the company grow, met a lot of people, and moved around a couple times. But ultimately, that's what I do now. And my title is actually I was applied scientist for about 4.5 years there. Then earlier this year, I switched over to machine learning tech evangelist,
Okay.
which we focus a lot on, educating our customers, educating people within the company on how to be, how to have more fair practices and responsible use of AI, and
Mhm.
also how do we, ensure that we're doing everything we can to make sure our services and that we have trustworthy AI services. And then also, my favorite part about the evangelist side of that is that outside of the education is I get to go where we don't normally go and talk about these things and make sure that
Okay.
they're a big awareness of this sort of thing and that people know how they're affected. Even our customers, from law enforcement to just general startups. And so
Yeah.
it's something that I kind of never thought I would be doing, but and I've even gone to Capitol Hill, talked to members of
Wow.
legislation, and it's just been a wild journey. But again, it's just wherever I'm supposed to go, I go, and like it's where I'm supposed to be.
Fantastic. I'm so excited for you, on that. Yeah, so Versailles, so he's proud of you as that's you're all both from
Hey,
Jackson there. And he says something about he noticed the superhero rules behind you on the wall,
yep.
and are these habits you live by?
Yeah, yeah, I try to. It's hard sometimes, but
I can't see them
uh,
that well, so I don't know what they are.
yeah, it's protect others. Let's see. Always wear a cape. Set a good
Okay.
example. Be kind. Don't forget your mask. Now that's actually relevant today. Don't forget your mask. Be brave and strong. Help others. Have no fear, and be extraordinary. So, yeah, some way or another, I probably touch on some of those things throughout the day, daily. So.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And so Quinn Broke, he said, what is the process to take advantage of your CTO to go? Does the program services other cities?
We hope to in the future, in the near future. We've gotten some additional funding in. We traditionally have been mostly serving people in Mississippi, But it could be an opportunity to expand. So I would just encourage you to, go ahead and sign up. You can sign up on our website,
Hmm.
thebeanpath.org. Tech help, or I think that's what it's called. CTO to go is one of the menu items, and it's on a rolling basis. So as we get more funding, then yeah, we'd be happy to help more people.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so like that's pretty fantastic. I definitely think that's something that is worth funding, and to kind of move stuff like that forward. Now, for me, I kind of want to know, like so we've been doing this weekly event. So when you and Drew and the rest of the team was up in Atlanta working on the part pick stuff, did you all participate in the tech startup ecosystem up there while y'all were working on the part pick?
Yeah, yeah, we which at that time in Atlanta it was not much that you would see or hear about. I mean, there were a few places that were they were there traditionally, but it didn't seem like it was inclusive, or that we could actually do it.
Hmm.
But we ended up getting into a couple of the spaces. There were some of them were co-working spaces.
Hmm.
Jewel has been awesome about networking and getting the word out there, pitching
Hmm.
to different people, talking
Yeah.
to investors, and we ended up getting into ATDC, which is actually on the campus of Georgia Tech,
Yes.
and had some office space there, and a lot of connections, and I think that really catapulted us pretty far because of the network at Georgia Tech and the
Yeah.
connections there, and that's kind of how it started. I know we were also a part of, Seed Invest, I think Seed Fund, and a couple other, smaller incubators.
Hmm.
We actually, I remember winning South by Southwest
Wow. I didn't
um,
know you all had one time.
accelerator
Wow.
uh,
Okay.
competition. Yeah, that was a big one that really helped put us on the map
Yeah.
for investments, and we were able to close the round soon after that. And I think also we won Rise of the Risk, co-founder
Wow. Okay.
Steve Case,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then there was a couple TechCrunch Disrupt. We
Yeah.
were finalists in that one. So yeah, it's just like the more you do it, the better you get at it. And
Yeah.
I was actually pitching on stage at a conference in Boston. This was in May of this was 2016,
Hmm.
and that's where Amazon was in the audience, and that's how we ended up getting the company acquired, because they were just sitting in the audience while I was
Wow.
talking about it. And so yeah, you never know
Yeah.
who's watching.
So as CTO, you had to pitch as well as normally the CEO does all the pitching, but you as CTO had to pitch as well.
Yeah, it's pretty ironic. I ended up, wearing multiple hats.
Hmm.
Well, as a startup, you have to anyway. But
Yeah.
most of the time, I wasn't. I left. I tried to leave that to Jewel, but this she actually wanted me to go to this conference. I think she had something else to do, and
Hmm.
so I was a little reluctant. But I went ahead and did it, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you spent any time out on the West Coast?
I have. I before the pandemic, I was in Seattle or Palo Alto at least once a month.
Okay.
With my work, and
Hmm.
it was um I have a big network out there as well. I also had an office in the LA area,
Oh, wow.
and
Okay.
so it
And so,
was with Amazon, so and Amazon's all over now, but
yeah.
um yeah, so I try to keep ties on things going on out there, so yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. So what was your impression of the startup scene, the startup ecosystem in those big cities like Seattle and LA?
So they're, of course, they're further along. It's really the mindset of people.
Yeah.
So if we can convince people to, if we can empower them to believe that they
Hmm.
too can, strike it rich, strike it big. I think
Hmm.
oftentimes the narrative, especially in, the underserved community, is, you know, go to school, get a job, and that's it. you retire.
Hmm.
But it can be so much more than that. You can own your own company. You even don't even have to go to college.
Yeah,
A lot of the people in Silicon Valley who are, multi-millionaires did not even finish college. Some of them did not even finish high school. And
yeah,
so if we change the narrative to, here's all the opportunities, here's all the things available to you that you can choose from, and then we empower you with the right tools to do that, and provide that equity to you,
yeah,
the funding, the resources, the know-how, the expertise, then you'd be surprised. People will figure it out. They will fend for themselves and they will be successful regardless of what path they take.
yeah, yeah. That's fantastic. And so, um, like Atlanta and out on the West Coast, you see a lot of startup activity, but here in Northwest Florida, you don't tend to see as much. And so when we launched Startup on the Blocks, and as an event, um, like what we're doing now, um, so we kind of saw it as an opportunity to for people that couldn't get to the training, in person. It was, by doing it online, you have access to meet people like you and learn from people like you. And so what since we've kind of did this thing for over a year now, so Versa and I were saying, well, we need to start partnering with organizations like your organization. So let's say you don't necessarily have something going on every week for your founders that are people that are connected to you, but Startup on the Blocks is here every week, and we got different founders coming in, to kind of spread the word and help people get connected to resources. So I definitely want you to know that we are here for that, and and so we're just going to keep partnering with organizations to keep expanding to give more people access, to the information and the best practices for
Yeah,
building a
yeah,
startup. Yeah. And so
yeah.
that
I'm happy to partner. And I'll just close with, I'll put my website, some of the websites for
yes,
these uh, things I've been talking about today.
yeah, go right
Uh,
ahead. And we're
beanpath.org. We're actually doing a fundraising campaign, so I'll put the
good,
donate link
good.
in there. And then the Jackson Tech District, the real estate development project
Yes.
in downtown Jackson. That's the website for that too. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, we'll definitely on our newsletter we'll make sure people have those links,
yeah,
to connect. And so yeah, we're gonna keep on trying to do things to make this type of stuff more accessible to people of color, and kind of get more founders in. So I guess week after next we got Joey coming on. So I know Joey.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So and see that's another example of a nonprofit that's Goody Nation that's trying to do good work
Hmm.
to help
Yep.
founders all over the United States. Kind of grow. And my message, and what I believe, if you're aware of the resources and the help you can get, at least you won't feel alone on your journey. No matter how awesome a task you're trying to do. And I was judging a pitch competition today, and so this brother he has this year he started a autonomous autonomous vehicle, a pod that delivers stuff, for as part of the smart city stuff. And I said, man, that's pretty ambitious.
Yeah.
But he's already making progress and making connections. But and he's getting partnership agreements. He's got, and he's got letters of interest from these different smart city things, and so, but to go on something that big, ambitious, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, we can do some amazing things. Like you said, just work, do the work.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, keep being creative. So any parting words so we get off here?
I thank you all for having me. Just keep on, working at it. It'll happen. It's hard. It's hard work. But it can happen.
Yeah, yeah, and that's kind of what what I know, and with here what I saw in our ecosystem that's growing here in Pensacola and Northwest Florida, everybody coming in the ecosystem, to provide resources, they they want to provide it for you after you got your company started,
Yep.
and and I'm saying, what about the people who have ideas and don't know what to do, and what about the people of color,
Yep. Yep.
and because they can't get to all these things you're trying to do in person, and you got to kind of make a way for make it accessible to more people. And so
Yep.
there's so many things going on. It's just almost unbelievable, the people out there organizations trying to help, these businesses grow. Well, thanks a million, and we sure appreciate it. I look forward to uh, building the relationship and potentially partnering on some programs in the future. But we definitely like what you're doing, and are proud of what you're doing. And thanks for setting a good example.
Thank y'all so much. And y'all have a good one. Bye
All
bye.
right, bye bye, everyone. We'll see you all next week. Thanks a million. Bye bye.